Sup, guys, this is Baseball for FPC, and today I'm bringing you a new series. This will be a very unique series. I've never done an early access game before. I've never done an early access series before, I should say. And so I'm playing Interstellar Marines right now, and so this will be what I hope to be, at least, a continuing series showing basically the development of this game. And so, yeah, I hope this will be kind of an interesting series. There's quite a bit to talk about during this video, so let's get right to it. Interstellar Marines, it was just released as early access on Steam, and it was developed by, or is being developed by, 0 Point Software. Now, there's quite a bit of history involved with this game, and I don't know everything about it. I can talk a little bit about it, but I obviously don't know all the details. Interstellar Marines, from what I've heard, from what I've read, was initially started development back in 2005, and this game went through quite a few changes. They changed engines, they went bankrupt, they had a failed Kickstarter, they got back on the ground, they sunk back under. It was off and on, until finally we've got present day where they are releasing an early access game, and so things seem to be moving forward. It seems like they're actually going to be able to finish it this time, and so I wish them all the luck for that, not just because I paid for the game, but because they've gone through quite a bit of history, spread out over many years. And so, yeah, I kind of took a gamble on this. I'm not much of a risk taker when it comes to games. I kind of save my money for games that I know will be good, or that word of mouth I've heard are good. And so I'd never heard about this game, and I went ahead and I bought the Interstellar Marines Spearhead Edition. Now, the Spearhead Edition is kind of like an early access collector's edition. You basically get the base game as well as all future updates. In addition, you get a second copy of this to gift to a friend, and you get your name in the credits, which is what really appealed to me. And you also get the digital art book, you get soundtrack, a couple other things. So it's quite a large package. I believe it was $40. So the base game itself is $15, and so to pay just a little bit more than double, you get a second copy of the game as well as a bunch of other stuff. That really appealed to me, so I took a gamble. I went ahead and bought it, and this game has been growing on me as I've been playing it. It's a tactical shooter. I don't want to say that it's like Counter-Strike, but I guess sort of it is. If Counter-Strike was futuristic with a little bit of gameplay changes, I guess this would be sort of like Counter-Strike. I don't really like the comparison that I'm making right there, but I hope that gives you kind of a sense of how it is. I will say this, it is early access, and when I say early access, it is very early access. A lot of people, I've seen several videos on YouTube about this game, and a lot of people are complaining about how early access it is. They're basically whining and complaining, saying, "Oh, I paid money for this, there needs to be more, blah blah blah, they should have been working on this a lot more." And I'm like, geez guys, it's an early access game. Give the developers a break. They're constantly rolling out changes, they're rolling out patches and stuff like that, so just be patient. The developers are working on it. They're not sitting at home doing nothing. They're taking their time. They're working on a quality product, and so just give them some time. It's growing on me. A lot of people didn't like this or that about the game, and it's growing on me. So as I said, very early access. There's only one gun. There's only one player model. There's a handful of maps that you can play, and most of the servers are 4v4. There are a couple that are 8v8, and those are basically for stress testing purposes. They're basically trying to see how much their servers can handle it, stuff like that. So I've only played on the 4v4. The maps aren't huge, and so I'd be interested to see how 8v8 actually plays out. But as I said, you've only got one gun, the current gun that you're looking at right now. You've got the red dot sight, obviously. You can't run, you can't sprint, you can't jump. So you're basically at that one constant pace with the one gun. But it is fun, nevertheless. Let me stress that. Just because it is early access doesn't mean that it can't be fun. I'm actually enjoying it while I'm playing it. I've logged a few hours into it already. And as I'm recording this, actually, they just rolled out version 0.5.2. This, as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, is 0.5.1. They initially started with 0.5.0, so Version 1.0 is the base release, so you can see that it's halfway to release, or at least I guess that would be their goal. So, some interesting things about this game: you can actually dynamically toggle a lot of settings on the game. And so, usually for PC games, you have your settings menu, which is attached to the main menu, and you can change things like your resolution. You can change AA, SSAO, a lot of effects and stuff like that. However, once you get in game, you can't change any of that stuff. What's interesting about Interstellar Marines is the fact that you can actually change these very demanding specs in-game dynamically. So once you're in game, you can toggle whether you want AA on or AA off. You can toggle SSAO on or off. A lot of these really demanding specs can be turned on and off on the fly. So in a sense, this is almost like a tech demo, which is pretty cool in and of itself. You also have attached to your gun, you've got a flashlight as well as a laser pointer. You can turn those on and off. And what makes things really interesting is the weather system is fully dynamic. Basically, the story is that you're in sort of like you're in an arena, in a sense. It's a giant dome, so that's why the weather can change almost instantly. And so you'll have sunlight for 1 minute, then it turns to rain, then it turns to night. And I think that the nighttime settings are some of the coolest, just because when it gets night, when it becomes dark, it gets dark. And I mean like really, really dark. You caught a little bit of that at the very beginning of this video when it started out being dark. However, there's one map in particular. It's basically like a hangar facility type thing. And when all the lights go out, it gets dark. And you really you're forced to use your flashlight, otherwise you're just running into objects and stuff like that. However, you want to be cautious about that because it gives away your position. And so some of the most fun that I've had with this game is running around, quickly turning on my flashlight just to see an object in front of me, and then quickly turning it back off so an enemy doesn't spot me. And then when you do run across an enemy, it's like a very, very tense firefight, because you can kind of see the enemy through the muzzle flash, but it's very hard to actually pick out where they are. So you have some really great moments like that with the dynamic lighting and weather system that they have. So that was another one of the things that I found really interesting. In this new version, or new iteration I should say, 0.5.1, they added a few new things. They added the ability to change your key mappings, which is obviously a huge deal for PC gamers, being able to change what controls do what. And I briefly read the changelog for 0.5.2, which was just released. I haven't actually had a chance to play it yet, but they did add quite a few additional things, one of which being the ability to sprint versus walk. And so hopefully I'll be doing another video on the next iteration of this very soon, but my goal is to keep providing you guys with updates about the game, the new changes, the new iterations, and basically follow this game through the development process. I figured that'd be kind of a cool change from things because, as I mentioned, I've never actually done this type of thing before. I've never done early access, I've never recorded early access. So, really interesting just for me as a gamer, but I also hope that it's interesting for you to see the development of this game. So, it is really fun, but I just want to warn you guys, it is early access. If you're expecting a full-fledged game, you're going to be disappointed. And so I think that was what several people who bought this game were expecting. They were expecting a bit more. And I'll be honest, I was expecting a bit more myself. I had never heard of this game before, so I didn't quite know what to expect. But I was expecting a little more, but I was not disappointed with the product that I bought. I will say that. So let me say that again. I was expecting more when I first purchased the game, but I am happy with what I got anyways. As I've mentioned several times already, this game has grown on me, and I've really started to enjoy it. It's fun when you spawn. The spawning can be a little buggy, but that's obviously early access. But when you spawn and you meet up with a buddy, and you kind of just roam around the map, wasting bad guys. There isn't really a whole lot of chat that goes on between the teams, or the players on the individual teams themselves, because you can see the top part of that where it says "Baseball Forever killed the trooper." That is shared. That one line at the top right there is shared with players who enter and leave, as well as chatting. So you can only have one line at a time, and it cycles through those things really quick. So not a lot of chat that goes on, but it's still fun to sort of silently with your partner agree, hey, we're going to roam around the map together. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this up really fast here. I hope you guys stay tuned for this series, and I hope you guys enjoy this series that I'm doing. So thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, later.